The sensor array blinked red 3 times before Ren even noticed. He was cleaning dust from the console when the alarm started its low warble. The maintenance worker rubbed his eyes and checked the readings again. Something was moving through deep space at speeds that shouldn't be possible. "Hey, Supervisor Krell, I've got a weird signature on Grid 7, Ren called across the monitoring station. His supervisor barely looked up from his meal. "Run diagnostics. The sensors are 50 years old. They glitch twice a week," Krell muttered through a mouthful of protein paste. Ren ran the diagnostics anyway. Every system checked out fine. The signature was still there, growing stronger. He pulled up the database that contained information on 47 member species of the Calrith Empire. Nothing matched, not even close. "Sir, the diagnostics are clean. This thing is real and it's moving fast," Ren insisted. Krell finally walked over and squinted at the display. "That's impossible. Nothing crosses the dead zone. Send it to headquarters and let them figure it out," Krell said dismissively. Within 2 hours, every monitoring station along the outer rim reported the same contact. Panic spread through military channels like fire in dry grass. Ren watched his console light up with priority alerts. Suddenly, his boring assignment felt very different. The Imperial Defense Council met in emergency session on the capital world. Fleet Commander Tashin stood before a holographic display showing the mysterious vessel's trajectory. Ministers and admirals filled the chamber, their voices rising in argument. "We should destroy it before it enters core territory," Admiral Fenn insisted. His scales rippled with agitation. "We don't even know what it is. How can we destroy something that survived the dead zone?" Minister Voles countered. The intelligence director's 4 eyes tracked the vessel's path with concern. "That's exactly why we should destroy it. Nothing survives the dead zone. The radiation alone should have torn that ship apart," Tashin said quietly. His words silenced the chamber. The dead zone was legendary, a region of space where radiation storms and spatial anomalies destroyed anything that tried to pass through. The Empire had lost 3 exploration fleets attempting to map it centuries ago. After that, they declared it impassable and built their border around it. "What kind of shielding could protect against those conditions?" a science advisor asked. No one had an answer. Tashin ordered 3 battle groups to intercept positions. 12 warships moved into formation at the edge of the home system. They sent hailing signals across every known frequency. The mysterious vessel ignored them all. Back at the monitoring station, Ren couldn't stop watching the data. The vessel wasn't just fast. It was efficient. The energy signature was tiny for something that size. Empire ships burned fuel like mad just to maintain faster-than-light travel. This thing barely registered. "It's like watching a ghost," he whispered to himself. The vessel suddenly decelerated from faster-than-light speeds without any transition phase. Empire ships needed hours to safely drop to sublight velocities. This one just stopped. It positioned itself at the edge of the Calrith home system and held position. Voles studied the scanning data from his office. Sweat dampened his fur despite the cool air. The calculations made no sense. The vessel should need technology centuries beyond current Empire capabilities. Yet there it was. "Sir, civilian traffic is requesting permission to evacuate," his assistant reported. "Grant it. Tell them to remain calm but prepare shelters on all core worlds," Voles ordered. His voice sounded steadier than he felt. The Empire's warships formed a defensive perimeter, weapons charged and shields at maximum. The mysterious vessel made no hostile moves. It just waited. That somehow made it worse. "Why isn't it doing anything?" Tashin wondered aloud. His tactical officer had no answer. Hours passed in tense silence. Citizens across multiple worlds watched news feeds. Children were pulled from schools. Hospitals prepared for mass casualties. The Empire hadn't faced an unknown threat like this in 3 generations. Then the transmission came, a burst of signals unlike anything in the Empire's communication protocols. It took the linguistics team 3 hours to even identify it as language, another 2 hours to partially decode it. Voles read the translated fragment with growing dread. Seeking, lost, human. He called an immediate meeting with the council. The ministers gathered in the secure chamber. Voles displayed the translation on the central screen. Human, does anyone recognize this term? He asked. The room remained silent. Search all databases, historical records first. Contact logs everything, Tashin commanded. His staff scattered to their terminals. 2 hours of searching revealed nothing. No species called humans, no contact reports, no trade agreements. Nothing. It was as if they had materialized from nowhere. How can we have no record of them? Minister Rel demanded. His tentacles writhed in frustration. That's not the right question, Voles said slowly. His mind raced through implications. The right question is, what kind of civilization crosses the dead zone alone just to search for one individual? The chamber fell silent. Every member of the council understood the significance. The empire was built on collective survival. Individuals were important but not irreplaceable. Entire colonies had been sacrificed for the greater good. It was simply how civilizations survived. But this vessel, this mysterious ship that survived the impossible, it had come for one being, one lost member of its people. They came through hell for a single person, Tashin said quietly. Respect colored his voice despite his fear. What does that say about their capabilities? Voles added. More importantly, what does it say about their values? On his monitoring station, Ren watched the vessel holding position. It hadn't moved in 6 hours. It was waiting for something, waiting for an answer to its question. He thought about the message, seeking lost human. Somewhere in the vast empire, someone had taken one of their people. Now this ship had come to get them back. Ren felt a chill run through his spine. The empire was about to learn what it meant when someone came looking for their family. The vessel's lights pulsed once in the darkness, patient, determined, inevitable. Voles assembled his best team in the intelligence center. Linguists and xenoanthropologists crowded around holographic displays showing the decoded transmission. Fragments of meaning emerged slowly. The word structure suggests high technological sophistication, a linguist named Pella reported. Her antennae twitched as she worked through the data. They use efficient compression in their communication. Every symbol carries multiple layers of information. What about the complete message? Voles pressed. Pella manipulated the display. New translations appeared. One of ours, tracking beacon, diplomatic incident if harmed. The room grew quiet. The implications were clear. Someone in the Empire had taken one of these humans. The vessel wasn't invading, it was searching. Find me everything about unknown species captured in the last year, Voles ordered. Check smuggling reports, customs violations, anything. Junior Archivist Dren spent 3 hours digging through databases. Most reports were routine. Contraband goods, illegal weapons, standard criminal activity. Then he found a footnote in a customs report from the outer territories. Sir, I have something, Dren called out. His hands shook slightly as he transferred the data. 6 months ago, a rogue trading consortium reported capturing what they listed as unidentified fauna. They sold it to a collector on Thresh. Voles examined the report. The physical description sent ice through his veins. Bipedal, minimal natural armor, unusual endurance markers. The customs agent had filed it under wildlife. They thought it was an animal, Pella whispered. Horror colored her voice. Who bought it? Tashin demanded. He had joined the intelligence team an hour ago. Crime lord named Torvin. He collects exotic creatures for his private menagerie, Dren answered, his voice barely steady. The council convened again. The debate was fierce. Admitting they had allowed the enslavement of a sentient being meant potential war with an unknown power. We destroy the vessel, claim it was damaged entering our territory, Admiral Fenn suggested. Several ministers nodded agreement. That ship survived the dead zone. Do you really think we can destroy it? Voles challenged. Besides, they know one of their people is here. They're tracking some kind of beacon. As if responding to his words, the mysterious vessel began moving again. It traveled from world to world, methodically scanning each one. Every defensive shield in the Empire proved useless. The scanning beams penetrated effortlessly. What kind of technology is this? A science minister demanded. Our shields should block any conventional scan. Maybe that's the problem, Tashin said grimly. Maybe there's nothing conventional about them. The scientists studying the vessel's energy signature presented their findings to Voles privately. The news was worse than expected. The ship isn't using normal faster-than-light drives, the lead scientist explained. Her voice trembled. It's bending space itself. The energy requirements would exceed the output of our entire fleet. How is that possible? Voles asked. We don't know. The power source generates more energy than some small stars. If they wanted to destroy us, they could do it from any range, the scientist replied. Voles made his decision. He convinced the council to send a covert team to retrieve the human. Better to return it peacefully than face whatever that vessel would do to retrieve its crew member. Special Operative Nira led the extraction team. 5 of the Empire's best infiltrators approached Thresh under cover of a merchant vessel. They studied Torvin's compound from orbit. Security is heavy. He's expecting trouble after the Imperial inquiry, Nira observed. Her team checked their equipment. They infiltrated during the night cycle, moving through shadows and bypassing sensors. Torvin's compound sprawled across a mountain plateau. Dozens of holding cells contained creatures from across the galaxy. Nira's scanner led them to a reinforced cell in the lowest level. Inside, a small bipedal creature sat against the wall. It was thin, obviously malnourished, but its eyes tracked their approach with clear intelligence. That's no animal, one of Nira's team whispered. The human didn't panic when they opened the cell. Instead, it stood slowly and gestured toward the exit, asking if they were there to help. The meaning was universal despite no shared language. We're getting you out, Nira said, knowing it wouldn't understand the words but hoping the tone conveyed intent. The extraction went smoothly until they reached the upper levels. A guard spotted them and triggered the alarm. Suddenly the compound came alive with armed security. Move, move, Nira shouted. Her team returned fire with non-lethal rounds. The human surprised everyone by helping. It grabbed a fallen guard's weapon and disabled the safety systems on several doors, letting Nira's team escape faster. Despite its weakened condition, it kept pace with trained soldiers. They reached their ship and launched immediately. Torvin's personal fleet moved to intercept. 12 armed vessels blocked their path to orbit. Then the massive human vessel appeared. No warning, no faster-than-light signature. It simply materialized above Thresh. The planet's entire power grid flickered from its presence alone. A transmission broadcast across all frequencies. The voice was calm but carried absolute authority. Human life sign detected. Prepare for retrieval. Nira stared at the display. The vessel was enormous, larger than anything the Empire had built. Its surface seemed to absorb light, making it hard to track visually. Sir, what do we do? Her pilot asked nervously. We follow the plan, dock with the Imperial station and transfer the human to their ship peacefully, Nira replied. Her mind raced. They weren't rescuing this human for the Empire's sake anymore. They were trying to prevent whatever would happen if that ship decided to come down and retrieve its crew member by force. The human sat in the medical bay. Nira brought it water and food. It accepted both gratefully. Then it spoke in broken Calrith. Thank you for help, my people, they came. Nira realized the human had been learning their language, listening to its captors for 6 months, learning and surviving, waiting for rescue. Your people crossed the dead zone for you, Nira said. The human's response chilled her. They would cross anything we do not leave behind. Above them, the massive vessel waited, patient and terrible in its implications. Neera's ship docked with the orbital station. Medical teams waited to examine the rescued human. But before they could begin, the human spoke clearly in improved Calreth. "My name is Amy. I am Surveyor Research Mission. Pirates attacked 6 months ago." The medical staff exchanged glances. 6 months of captivity and the human had learned their language. Voles arrived personally to oversee the transfer. "Amy, we're going to return you to your people," he said carefully. "We apologize for what happened." Amy studied him with eyes that seemed to see too much. "You did not know. Humans existed, but you knew. I was thinking being your customs officer marked me as animal. Easier that way." The accusation hung in the air. Voles had no defense. The Empire's corruption had allowed this. He had reviewed the customs report. The officer had classified Amy as fauna because processing sentient being trafficking required paperwork. The massive vessel established communication. A voice identified itself as Captain Reeves of the Wanderer's Hope, a search and rescue ship. The name itself revealed something about human priorities. "This is Intelligence Director Voles of the Calreth Empire. We have recovered your crew member and request permission to transfer her safely," Voles transmitted. "Permission granted. We appreciate your cooperation. We'll discuss the circumstances of Amy's capture after she's safely aboard," Reeves responded. The tone was professional but held an edge. Neera accompanied Amy to the transfer point. The human moved slowly, still recovering. Neera found herself curious about these people who crossed impossible distances. "Why did they come?" Neera asked. "Your empire must have millions of citizens. One person can't be worth risking a ship like that." Amy looked at her with confusion. "One person is everything we don't measure. Worth in numbers I am part of. My people they are part of. Me this is obvious, yes." The concept was alien to Neera. The Empire valued its citizens, but accepted losses as inevitable. Sacrifice for the greater good was fundamental to their society, but humans apparently saw it differently. Before the transfer could begin, Torvin made his move, furious at losing his valuable property. He launched his private military fleet. 12 well-armed vessels closed in on Neera's position. "This is Torvin. That creature is my legal property. Return it immediately or face consequences." The crime lord's voice boomed across communication channels. Captain Reeves responded immediately. Her voice dropped several degrees in temperature. "This is Captain Reeves. The being you refer to is Amy Chen, citizen of the Human Systems Alliance. She is not property. You have 5 seconds to withdraw." Torvin laughed. "You're one ship against 12. I'll take my chances." "Your funeral," Reeves said simply. What happened next took 3 seconds. Every weapon system on all 12 ships simply stopped functioning. No visible beam, no projectiles. The systems just died. Torvin's flagship suffered complete power failure and began falling toward the planet. Neera expected the human vessel to watch it burn. Instead, a shimmering beam caught the falling ship and lowered it gently to the surface. The precision was terrifying. They had disabled weapons across multiple vessels simultaneously while using a tractor beam on a 13th target. "We don't let people die when we can prevent it, even enemies," Reeves explained over the open channel. "But I strongly suggest you reconsider your definition of property." The Imperial Council watched this display with growing horror. Minister Rel voiced what everyone thought. "They showed mercy to someone who attacked them. What kind of species does that?" "A dangerous one," Tashin replied. "An enemy we can predict and understand, but mercy, that's unpredictable." Amy collapsed suddenly, her injuries and malnutrition finally overwhelming her. Neera caught her before she hit the deck. Medical alerts screamed. Captain Reeves's voice changed completely. Cold urgency replaced professionalism. "Our crew member is dying. We're bringing her aboard now." Before anyone could respond, Amy disappeared in a shimmer of transporter energy. Neera stared at empty air. her arms still positioned to hold someone who was no longer there. They had that technology the whole time, Voles said slowly, realization dawning. They could have taken Amy at any moment. Then why didn't they? A minister demanded. They gave us a chance, Tashin answered. His military mind understood the implications. A chance to do the right thing, to return Amy peacefully. They were testing us. Did we pass? Minister Rel asked. The silence was answer enough. 3 days passed. The Wanderer's hope remained in orbit. No communication, no demands, just waiting. The Empire's economy began to suffer as trade routes diverted around the occupied system. Fear was expensive. Voles couldn't stop thinking about Amy's words, the way she seemed confused that they would question why her people came for her, as if it was the most natural thing in existence. Sir, Captain Reeves is requesting a formal meeting, his assistant reported. The meeting took place on the neutral orbital station. Heavy security surrounded the conference room. Reeves arrived with Amy and 3 other humans. Amy appeared fully recovered. Her healing shocked the Empire's medical experts. Your medical technology must be remarkable, Voles observed. Standard nanomedicine. Most civilizations develop it eventually, Reeves replied, sitting across from the Empire's leadership. But we're not here to discuss medicine. We're here to discuss how your Empire allowed my crew member to be enslaved for 6 months. Reeves presented evidence. The customs officer who classified Amy as fauna had processed 17 similar cases, always choosing the easier classification, always accepting bribes from traffickers. The corruption ran deep. We didn't know humans existed, a minister tried to explain. I don't care that you didn't know about humans, Reeves interrupted, her voice sharp. I care that you didn't care whether Amy was sentient. Your officer had protocols for processing unknown intelligent species. He ignored them because it was convenient. How many others have suffered the same fate? No one had an answer. Amy spoke up quietly. I saw others. In Torvin's collection, dozens of beings, different species. Some had been there for years. Voles felt sick. He had spent his career in intelligence, focused on external threats, never looking at the rot within. What do you want from us? He asked Reeves. The captain's expression was unreadable. I want you to be better, but we'll discuss the details after I show you something. Captain Reeves pulled up a holographic display. Coordinates appeared. 17 locations spread across Empire territory, each one marked with a pulsing red icon. These are tracking beacons, Reeves explained calmly. Every human carries one. It's embedded at the cellular level. We've located 17 more of our people in your empire. Some have been missing for over 2 years. The council members stared at the display. 17 humans, enslaved across their territory, and they had never known. 2 years, Voles whispered. Your people have been searching for 2 years. We've been searching for 5, Reeves corrected. These are just the ones in your territory. We've recovered 43 others from various regions of space. Piracy and trafficking aren't unique to your empire, but your size and loose enforcement make you a popular market. Admiral Fenn bristled at the criticism. We can't monitor every transaction across hundreds of worlds. Then monitor the ones that matter, Amy interjected, her voice stronger now. I wasn't the only sentient being in Torvin's collection. There were others, species I didn't recognize. If you had investigated even once, you could have stopped this years ago. Minister Rel shifted uncomfortably. What exactly are you proposing, Captain? Reeves deactivated the display. I'm not proposing anything. I'm presenting options. Option 1. Your empire begins genuine reforms. You investigate trafficking networks, prosecute the guilty, and establish real oversight. We'll provide technical assistance and share intelligence. And option 2, Tashin asked. We establish a permanent rescue network. Human ships will regularly enter your territory to locate and extract enslaved beings. You can either cooperate or be bypassed entirely. Reeves stated flatly. The implication was clear. Humanity would operate in Empire space with or without permission. The Wanderers' hope had proven their capability. A younger council member named Dren spoke up. "You're not threatening military action. You're offering to help us fix our own failure. Why?" "Because punishment doesn't free slaves," Amy answered before Reeves could respond. "We could destroy your fleet, but that doesn't help the people suffering right now. We judge civilizations by whether they learn from mistakes, not by whether they make them." Voles made a decision that would define his career. He stood and walked to a terminal, entering his authorization codes. Within seconds, classified intelligence flooded onto the main display. "What are you doing?" Minister Rel demanded. "Giving them everything," Voles replied. "Every trafficking network we know about, every corrupt official, every suspicious transaction. If we're going to reform, we need help." The room erupted in protest. Voles ignored it. He transferred the data to Reeves and simultaneously released it to Empire public channels. Citizens across hundreds of worlds suddenly saw the scope of corruption. "You just committed career suicide," Tashin observed quietly. "Maybe," Voles agreed. "But Amy was right. We could have stopped this years ago. I'm supposed to protect the Empire. I failed. Now I'm fixing it." Reeves stood. "Director Voles, I acknowledge your courage, but information isn't enough. We need action and accountability." "I'll lead the task force personally," Voles offered. "Give us 6 months to show progress." "We'll give you 6 months to demonstrate genuine commitment," Reeves countered. "But we're not waiting to free our people. The Wanderer's hope was our scout ship. Now that Amy is safe, the rescue fleet arrives." As if on cue, dozens of vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They weren't warships. They were specialized rescue vessels, each equipped with medical facilities and extraction teams. Humanity hadn't sent one ship. They'd sent an entire operation. "You planned this from the beginning," Tashin realized, his respect for human strategic thinking growing. "We planned for every scenario," Reeves confirmed. "The best outcome was always peaceful cooperation, but we prepared for resistance. Now we're here to extract 17 humans and anyone else we find in the process." Amy raised her hand hesitantly. "Captain, I request permission to remain temporarily to serve as liaison." The council looked shocked. Reeves's expression softened. "Amy, after what you've endured, you want to stay." "I survived because I stayed hopeful. Now I want to help others survive," Amy explained. "These people made mistakes, but Director Voles just risked everything to start fixing them. I believe I can help." Reeves considered for a long moment. "Approved, but you report to me daily and extraction is available immediately if needed." Over the next 4 months, the Empire transformed. Voles's task force raided trafficking networks. Human rescue teams provided intelligence and technical support. Amy worked as translator and advocate, her presence a constant reminder of what was at stake. The freed individuals told horrifying stories. Some had been enslaved for decades. The Empire's citizens responded with outrage. Protests demanded accountability. Corrupt officials were arrested. Laws were rewritten. Torvin and his associates fought back. Assassination attempts targeted reformers. Voles survived 3 attempts in 2 months. Human security teams started providing protection. Their non-lethal suppression technology proved devastatingly effective. Public opinion shifted when General Thross discovered his daughter had been kidnapped 20 years ago and sold to a mining operation. She was among those freed by the Joint Task Force. The general's testimony before the council broke through the last resistance. "I served this empire for 40 years, Thross said, his voice shaking. "I sacrificed for the greater good. I accepted losses as necessary, but my daughter wasn't lost in battle. She was stolen and sold, and we did nothing because it was easier. No more. Never again." The vote was unanimous. The empire formally adopted human rights protocols. Voles was appointed to lead a permanent oversight agency, human advisors embedded with his team. Ren, still working his monitoring station, watched human and Empire vessels patrol together. The same space where panic had reigned now hosted cooperation. He thought about that first detection, how one report changed everything. Amy visited the council one final time before returning to human space. You chose to be better. That's harder than most civilizations manage. Keep choosing it. As she walked toward the transport, Voles called after her. Why did you really stay after everything? Amy smiled. Because I needed to believe people can change. I needed that more than I needed to go home. 1 year after the Wanderer's hope first appeared, Amy stood in the newly established embassy. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the capital world's skyline. She had chosen to stay permanently, serving as humanity's first ambassador to the Calrith Empire. Voles visited weekly now. Their working relationship had evolved into genuine friendship. Today he brought news. We've freed over 300 individuals in the past year, he reported, settling into a chair. 12 more humans among them, all returned safely to your people. And the networks, Amy asked. Dismantled in core territory, but the outer regions still have problems. The really disturbing part is what we found beyond our borders, Voles said grimly. He pulled up intelligence reports. The data painted a dark picture. The trafficking networks extended far beyond Empire space. A massive organization called the Syndicate controlled operations across multiple regions. They're not random criminals, Voles explained. They're organized, industrial scale, processing thousands of beings annually, and they're angry we disrupted their Empire operations. Amy studied the reports, her expression hardening. They're preparing to strike back. Our sources confirm it. They want to make an example of the Empire, show other regions what happens when you interfere with their business, Voles confirmed. Amy immediately contacted Captain Reeves. The response came within hours. The Wanderer's hope returned. But not alone. A fleet of human vessels accompanied it. These weren't rescue ships. The Council met with Reeves and her fleet commanders. Tashin was present, his military expertise needed. We gave the trafficking network 6 months to surrender and disband, Reeves stated. We offered amnesty for cooperation. They responded by attacking our rescue teams, killing 3 humans and 17 freed captives. We don't make the same offer twice. You're going to war with the Syndicate, Tashin observed. We're liberating slaves and dismantling criminal infrastructure, Reeves corrected. If they choose to make it a war, that's their decision, but the outcome isn't in question. Tashin surprised everyone by volunteering to lead Empire forces in support. This started in our territory. We have responsibility to see it through. Other species sent representatives. The freed individuals had come from 90 different civilizations. Many wanted justice. A coalition formed, humans leading with Empire support and dozens of allied species. Amy insisted on being part of the strategic planning. Her experience as a captive provided insights no one else had. The Syndicate relies on fear and isolation, she explained to the War Council. They keep captives separated by species, prevent communication, make everyone feel alone. We break that by showing united purpose. The assault on the Syndicate's main hub took 2 weeks of preparation. Intelligence from freed captives identified the location. A massive space station in neutral territory, thousands of beings imprisoned there. The battle began at dawn. Human ships moved with precision that shocked their allies. They didn't just outgun the Syndicate, they outmaneuvered them at every level. Syndicate fighters expected conventional warfare, formations and sustained exchanges. Instead, human ships phased in and out, striking from impossible angles, their weapons disabled rather than destroyed when possible. They're not trying to win a military victory, Tashin realized, watching from his command ship. They're trying to minimize casualties while maximizing liberation. A human commander responded to his observation. Every Syndicate fighter we kill might have family, might have been forced into service. We offer surrender constantly, only engage lethally when no other option exists. The principle was foreign to Tashin, but he watched it work. Syndicate forces surrendered in waves when they realized they wouldn't be executed. The human fleet's reputation for mercy became a weapon. The station itself fell in 8 hours. Amy accompanied the first boarding teams, her insistence finally accepted after she threatened to go alone. She moved through corridors lined with cells, seeing her own imprisonment reflected in thousands of faces. "We're getting you out," she said in multiple languages, some she knew, some translated by her device. "All of you, no one left behind." The syndicate leadership attempted to escape. They had a secret faster-than-light ship hidden in the station's core. Human tracking technology caught them before they cleared the system. Reeves herself led the capture team. When the syndicate boss demanded to negotiate, she responded coldly. "You had 6 months to negotiate. You chose violence. Now you face justice." The trials took place in Empire courts. Amy's testimony as a survivor proved crucial. The Empire's reformed legal system handled the cases fairly but firmly. The syndicate's leaders received life sentences. Their organization dismantled piece by piece. Months later, Amy attended the memorial dedication. Representatives from 90 species gathered. The monument stood in the capital's central plaza, designed by a freed architect who spent 7 years in captivity. The inscription was written in every known language. In human English, it read simple words: "We remember not to dwell on darkness, but to ensure it never returns." Nira found Amy after the ceremony. The operative had continued working with the task force. "I've been thinking about what you said when I rescued you, about your people crossing anything. I understand now." "What changed?" Amy asked. "I would cross anything for the people I've freed. They're not my species, not my blood, but they're my purpose. Humanity taught us that connection isn't about biology, it's about choice," Nira explained. Above the planet, human and Empire vessels patrolled in coordinated patterns. The same space that witnessed panic now demonstrated partnership. Former enemies had become allies through shared purpose. Ren, promoted to senior monitor after his initial detection, watched the displays. He occasionally saw the Wanderer's hope pass through his sector, always transmitted a friendly greeting, always received one back. He thought about that day when his sensors first detected the unknown vessel, how close the Empire came to making terrible mistakes, how one person's capture led to revelation and change. Amy returned to the embassy. Messages from freed individuals filled her console, rebuilding their lives, thanking the coalition, reporting progress. One message made her pause. It was from her family. They had visited the Empire, met the people who rescued her, seen what she had built. "We're proud of you," her mother wrote. "You survived something terrible and chose to make it mean something. That's what humanity is supposed to be." Amy looked out at the city, lights spreading to the horizon, each light representing lives, some she had touched, most she never would, but all part of something larger. The Empire had learned an essential truth: strength wasn't measured in weapons or territory. It was measured in the courage to admit mistakes and the will to improve. Humanity hadn't conquered them. Humanity had shown them how to be better. That night, Voles joined Amy for their weekly meal. "Do you ever regret staying?" he asked. Amy considered the question. "I was one person who suffered. Now thousands are free. Suffering has purpose when it leads to change. I don't regret that." They sat in comfortable silence, watching stars appear in the darkening sky, human ships and Empire vessels passing overhead, partners in something greater than either civilization alone.